be a provocation to anyone in the modern age who finds the presence of a Jew as a provocation. Well, he needs a lesson in history. He needs a lesson in morals. Our presence here should be a microcosm, an example for the entire Middle East.
My number one goal is to return to Nablus, to Shechem, to the place, to the old biblical place where our forefathers started Jewish history 3,000 years ago. This is what I'm longing for. This is what my friends are longing for. So this is nice, this is fine, but this is just a beginning.
What do you have here? Democracy in the Middle East? No. Equality? Social services? No. Dictatorships. Terror. And I don't mean at this point terror against us. Terror among themselves, the Arabs, the dictators, the leaders, the different factions. No social services, no modern medicine in schools, a lot of hatred among the different factions. Only one corner of light here in the Middle East, and that's the state of Israel, the land of Israel.
Our historical obligation is to return, to settle here, to embark on a process which we hope will lead to a peaceful coexistence with the Arabs which live here. But the centrality of Judea and Samaria to the Jewish people, to the land of Israel, is as central as London is to the English, as Washington is to the Americans, if not more so. We go back, the Jewish people go back a little bit farther than both the Americans and the British.
They destroy, they kill, we create Jewish life, we settle. They are unsettled and we're settling.
Let them think that we are weak. Let them think that we are not strong enough. Let them think that they can move us. Because when he knows the opponent, especially the ideological opponent, thinks that, she says she will not move, but she will, I say to myself, let him think so.
God said to Abraham, I will give to you and your descendants all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and through your descendants shall all the nations of the world be blessed.
In 1974, a group of fundamentalist Jews began illegally building homes in Judea and Samaria, parts of the Holy Land across the west bank of the River Jordan, where Arab Palestinians live. They are financed by Gush Emunim, a group of fundamentalist Jews who believe that building settlements across all parts of the Holy Land will advance the arrival of the Messiah.
I don't speak in terms of settlements. I want to see big cities here. I want to see the city of Shechem like a city of 2 million people. So it's not a settlement. Settlement is caravans, is trailers, is a home here and a home there. This is not what my dream is about. My dream is about having here gigantic cities. Even in the Holy Land, there are degrees of holiness. There is Jerusalem with its super holiness, and here, Kedumim is a very holy place because this is where the beginning of Jewish history showed its marks. It's here that Abraham and Yaakov made the first footsteps.
Since 1974, the major Palestinian towns on the West Bank have been surrounded by Gush Emunim settlements.
Most people don't know. Most people put history aside. I don't have business in my work, in my office. I don't have business with people who put history aside. Just as a businessman doesn't make business. If someone says to him, look here, you're a very nice man, but when it comes to pay for your merchandise, I don't use money. Money is filthy. Let's put money aside. In business, you use money. In what I do, settlements, history is the money. I cannot do without history. If I don't use history, what do? What shall I tell you? That I live here because the view is nice. There are nicer views in Norway. I'm sure, I know it. I was there, and in Switzerland, and probably in Japan, and all over the world. I live here because this is my home in the deep and large sense of a land being a home for a nation. This is why I'm here.
We've come back here to create Jewish life, human progress, settlement, modern technology, medicine, social services. Every inch of Jewish land, which would be and cannot be, but theoretically, which would be yielded to Arab rule, that would invite terror and regression to that area. And we've come here to bring progress, human progress, to this area.
After 73, Israel actually spiritually collapsed. Everybody felt that every conviction that we have before, we don't have it anymore. No defense, no security, no the omnipotent might of the IDF. We're not the Superman of the region. We're not a worldwide superpower. We're just Israelis. We're just maybe the poor David. We're not even Goliath anymore. And when you take this sense of desperation and we didn't know what to do and how to go around, here came a group of people with positive motivation and said, we have the solution. Follow us, be positive, don't get desperate, do something. And they were the only ones who offered a positive and constructive alternative to do. And in times of desperation, people like to do something, to use the hands, to use the energies. And they gave people channels to use the energies. They took them to the West Bank.
Gush Emunim is Hebrew for the faithful ones. They are no more than 6,000 out of a total Israeli population of 4.5 million. But since the mid-70s, their views and actions have dominated the Israeli agenda.
שכולן נגדנו ותרגיש אנחנו לבד בבחינת ויוותר יעקב לבדו תדע שאינך לבד עם ישראל איתך.
Kedemim is close to where God made his covenant with the Israelites. Now an Arab village towers over the Gush settlement. "2,000 settlers live here, including Esther Karish, her husband, and their 8 children.
אבל צריך להבין שאני בן אדם דתי. למעשה, כל החיים שלי הם דתיים. לחיות בארץ ישראל, להקים את המדינה, לשבת ביהודה ושומרון, לקלוט עולים, זה הכל בהחלט חלק מהדת שלנו. בוא נאמר, הציונות זה חלק מהדת שלנו. כל זה חלק מציונות, וציונות זה חלק של הדת שלנו. אני חושבת שרוב האנשים בעולם מציירים אותנו בתור אנשים מאוד קרביים, לוחמים בשביל כל דבר, פנאטים במידה רבה. אני חושבת קודם כל אנחנו בני אדם. אנחנו בני אדם, ו-99% מהחיים שלנו אנחנו חיים כמו בני אדם. כמו יהודים דתיים, כמו ישראלים.
The Gush Emunim represent an extreme amongst Orthodox Jews. Their views are not shared by other fundamentalist Jews, especially the Haredim, who reject the religious significance of settling in Judea and Samaria. The Haredim, descended from the ghettos in Europe, believe that the Messiah will come only through prayer. Haredi men devote up to 18 hours a day in yeshivas debating the Torah.
The Gush Emunim people, notwithstanding the fact that they are religious and devout and uphold the commandments, they seem to be impatient with God's incompetence, so-called, to ingather the exiled. So therefore, they've taken things in their own hands. And according to Jewish theology, taking divine things in mortal hands can only be catastrophic.
The Gush are at the heart of Middle East politics. They have paved the way for over 100,000 settlers to the area, even though many of these settlers have been attracted by cheap housing rather than religious reasons. The 23 families of Elon are preparing for a big party to mark their first anniversary in the desert.
שאחר שנה היישוב ייראה כפי שהוא נראה. ברוך השם 20 משפחות, וכפי שאומרים זו רק ההתחלה. אני יכול לאחל לכולנו שנסתכל על זה בפרספקטיבה של 5 שנים מהיום, עם מבט של יישוב קבע גדול באזור, וכאשר אולי כבר היישוב הזה יהיה בתוכו גרעינים ליישובים נוספים בסביבה, במקום אותו מישור אדומים שהיה מקלט זמני שלכם. עלו והצליחו.
ערב טוב. כמו שאתם שמים לב, יש לנו ערב מאוד נעים פה, בלי רוח. אז אני גם משתדל לעשות את זה קצר. חברים יקרים, ברצוני לתאר לפניכם את מראה אלון לפני כשנתיים. ביום בו מוני הביא אותנו לגבעה הזו בפעם הראשונה, התגלה לעינינו אדמת ראשים, סלעים, זוחלים ושקט דממה.
Well, celebrating is that the settlement is a year old, and a year ago today we came to an empty hill where there was nothing, and everything started. And we've come so far. We have 20 families now, where there were only 4 the first day, and we're 70 people all together. It means a lot to us, and it's just the beginning, I hope, for many, many more years, and we'll be many, many more families.
הגענו ב9 בערב, אמרו לנו שב12 בלילה צריכים לבוא עם כל הדברים שלנו ולקחת קרוונים שלא גרים בהם מיישובים אחרים ולהביא אותם לפה. ו12 בלילה באנו, הבאנו את המכוניות עם כל הדברים וזהו. הלכנו לפרק את הקרוונים, עבדנו עד למחרת בערך ב-8 בבוקר. ב-8 בבוקר הגיעו מסעיות, לקחו את הקרוונים, הביאו אותם לפה זהו.
Several times a week, members of Elon screen prospective applicants who want to join the settlement.
אני נולדתי בארץ, אני מבית דתי, מלתיה.
איפה למדת?
למדתי בעמליה, בתיכון בירושלים. המשכתי שירות לאומי בבית חולים קפלן. למדתי תואר ראשון ושני באוניברסיטה העברית ביולוגיה וביולוגיה מולקולרית. ועכשיו אני עובדת בהדסה הר הצופים במעבדה לביולוגיה מולקולרית.
אם כבר מדברים על קליטה, רציתי לדעת מה התהליך בדיוק, מה אנחנו הולכים לעשות אחרי זה.
אחרי שאנחנו מחליטים שאתם מתקבלים, אז אנחנו שולחים אתכם לאמנה, לראיון. לאחר הראיון אתם הולכים למבחנים של הסוכנות, זה מבחנים להתאמה לחיי קהילה. זה מעין מבחנים פסיכומטריים, אבל זה לא בדיוק כך. ויש גם שיחה עם פסיכולוג, והמבחנים הם די ארוכים, זאת אומרת זה לוקח איזה חצי יום. ואחרי שאנחנו מקבלים את כל התשובות ביחד, אז אנחנו נודיע לכם.
Every Sunday evening, the inner committee of Elon meet to discuss problems.
הסובה, שתלנו אותה ואכלו לנו את הכל. אגב, אני חושב שזה צריך להיות צמחים עונתיים. פרחים עונתיים, שאתה נכנס ויש לך צבע מול העיניים. מספיק יש לך את כל המדבר.
אז תיקח 2-3 עצים, שים אותם במרכז.
ורדים, אני אמרתי מסביב.
יש עצים שנשארו בחיים.
כן?
לא, אני אמרתי ורדים מסביב, ובמרכז פרחים עונתיים.
כיום אנחנו לא מפריעים לאף אחד, זה לא שייך לאף אחד. אנחנו לא לקחנו את הקרקע מאף אחד, אף ערבי שזה שייך לו. ואנחנו חושבים שיש לנו את הזכות להיות פה. זאת אומרת, כמו שיהודי יכול לקנות אדמה בכל מקום בעולם ולגור, למה שאנחנו לא נגור פה אם אנחנו לא מפריעים לאף אחד? המקום היחידי שאומרים שאסור לנו לגור בכל העולם זה נמצא במקום הזה.
The Israeli state provides much of the money for settlements. Successive governments have been ambiguous in their attitude towards Gush Emunim. However, faced with the political need for secure borders against Arab neighbors and the urgent need to find housing for the increasing number of Jews arriving from Russia, the government poured $1 billion into the settlements in 1991 and now refuses to halt any building. In the last 12 months, the Gush Emunim have started 5 more settlements. The number of Jews on the West Bank has increased tenfold in the last 10 years. Many Gush families have 8 or 9 children, ensuring a continuous demand for new homes.
When I see what I see now from this window, the green of the leaves, the blue of the sky, the white of the clouds, the flowers that I see here, I'm telling you, I see that the colors are getting more and more beautiful. And I see that it comes in harmony with the growing and the strength that the state of Israel is getting. I feel that there is such harmony around me, and this is exactly what I read in the holy books. This is Messiah, this inner, full feeling of happiness.
Fundamentalism, whether it happens in the Muslim world, in the Christian church, or in the Jewish world, is an immediate response of a group of people in times of uncertainty. We don't know what will happen about employment, about security, about the future of the state of Israel with all of these new changes of new world and the crisis in the Gulf and the walls falling in Berlin and the Ethiopians are coming and the Russians are, we do not have employment for them. You take all of this, Israelis, in terms of uncertainty, a kind of a turmoil, and somebody else is coming and saying, trust me, I have a direct line to the divine Lord. I can tell you what will happen tomorrow. I'm Gush Emunim, support me. He actually says, I'm a fundamentalist and I have the ultimate answer to the period of uncertainty.
I don't know what you mean by fundamentalism. You can express it as you wish. But why go to high concepts, abstract concepts? I'm a believing Jew. I believe in what God told us in the Bible. I believe in the visions of our prophets. I believe in the Jews coming back to their homeland and being redeemed and becoming a great nation and bringing a blessing to the nations of the world. I believe that everything that has happened here in Israel, including the Jews coming back, including the miraculous falling down of the walls in the Kremlin, of hundreds of thousands of Jews coming back here, which was such a surprise. I believe that God brought us back to Judea and Samaria, just as he has brought us back to the Negev, the Galil, and the coastal plain. I believe that God expects us to perform that important command of settling the land, of bringing back Jewish life to the land. If you think that is fundamentalism.
The Zionists have named, have called the indigenous Palestinians enemies. All throughout the world, in England, there are Jews and non-Jews living side by side, amicably, in relatively harmonious way of life. Here, the Zionists claim every inch of the Holy Land to be theirs. So if there is a non-Jew residing anywhere in the Holy Land, he must be termed enemy.
The price of Israeli occupation has been high. An estimated 1,000 Arabs and Jews have been killed on the West Bank since 1974. Hebron is the burial place of Abraham. It is a place of pilgrimage for both the Jewish and Islamic traditions. 100,000 Arabs live here, and the town is one of the main centers of Palestinian nationalism. Since 1977, Gush Emunim have put 500 Jews among them. The atmosphere is extremely tense. Over 450 incidents between Jews and Arabs have been dealt with by the army in the last year. On the West Bank in 1991, there were 27,000 reported clashes between residents and the army. Buses carrying Gush Emunim settlers from Jerusalem to Hebron are frequently attacked. Mikhail Leiter is an American Jew who settled in Hebron 6 years ago.
Our answer to the stone throwing has been that for every stone that is thrown at us, we take 10 stones and build. And for every Molotov cocktail which has burnt homes and has burnt fields, we've planted fields and we've built the homes. And for every person injured, we bring more children into the world we expand our communities, and we expand our families. I think ultimately that's going to be the answer to this incessant and wanton violence where children are targeted. Personally, I've changed my front windshield of my car 7 times over the past 3.5 years. I was injured 2 years ago when a stray bullet hit me in the leg. I was injured when I was stoned, when a rock hit me in the face. But the bottom line is when you're doing something that is part of you, that is part of your repertoire, that is a living expression of your grasp of life, then everything becomes easy. It becomes exciting. There's nothing here that falls out of the realm of writing history. This is what's going to be written about in Jewish history books 100 and 200 years from now. Not a kosher pizza shop opened up in Lower Brooklyn.
Hebron is where many of Gush Emunim's founders live, and the settlers here are all hardliners. The Israeli army presence in the town is high, especially around the area occupied by the settlers. The headquarters of Gush Emunim is Beit Hadassah. Noam Arnon lives here with his wife and 6 children.
Do you have to carry a gun?
From time to time I carry a pistol, no, not a gun, and I would not like to carry anything. Many years I carried nothing, and I felt myself secure in the city more than in everywhere else in the country. At the last time I go with a small pistol. If I have a problem that if I might have a problem, I have a solution or something that looks like a solution, but it's not natural, and I can't get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. The children get used to almost everything, and they understand that it's a part of our way of living. The elders one, of course, understand why we choose to live here, and they feel themselves as a part of the people who create this, let's say, create a history here. The smaller ones, of course, do not understand too much, but they were born into this way of life. So, of course, they don't have too much choice, of course. This is the first Jewish city in the world, the first place that the Jewish history begins. After the massacre 60 years ago and the expel of Jews from Hebron, we must come back to settle here. This is our historical mission. We must fulfill it. I think that the Jewish history will not be completed without Jews recoming and resettling the city.
At this point, the filming was interrupted by a fellow Gush Emunim settler who was concerned about a question on fundamentalism. He takes Noam aside. Gush Emunim are sensitive about being labeled fundamentalist because of the unfavorable connotations this label can carry. He tells Noam, they are linking us to Khomeini. Noam tries to reassure him.
The ancient Jewish quarter of Hebron was established about 500 years ago, and the whole Jewish community lives here until the riots of 1929. The Jews that lived here were killed. The whole quarter was destroyed. The old synagogue of Abraham was destroyed. About 10 years ago, we came back here and began to reconstruct it. And now you see a new Jewish quarter is built. About 20 families, Jewish families live here. The old synagogue of Abraham was rebuilt. And this is a very pleasant thing to see. It's a part of the whole situation. We are struggling for normal life and for stability and for peace for all the residents here, Jews and Arabs as well. And I believe that most of the people here would like to live in peace. I don't feel personally that I do anything to provoke anyone. I live here normally, and I would like to have good relations with everybody. If my existence here as a Jew is provoking somebody, it says that he is a racist, he is anti-Semite. If myself as a Jew, if one cannot accept my existence here as a Jew, as a man, so he is a racist. He is going on the historical ancient anti-Semitism and the Nazism from our generation.
ככל הנראה בשניים-שלושה מחבלים שירו מטווח קצר לעבר האוטובוס.
Daniela Weiss organizes Gush Emunim demonstrations, responding to shifts in Israeli public opinion.
I wake up with the news, I go to bed with the news, we eat with the news. You wouldn't call a politician at 9 o'clock in the evening because there you have the news on the TV. Never.
Hello.
We do like meetings on the phone. I said, did you hear Baker? Did you hear Shamir? Did you hear what I said? I think we should organize meetings in the settlements and start working on it. And like this, with a phone, this is a magic machine. With a phone, with 20 phone calls, you can check again the pulse of the community here, and then you know, is the time ripe for a rally or not? Now, of 15 calls, let's say 10 people say to you, oh, who will come to the rally, leave it alone, then you know, well, time is not ripe. But if people say to you, yes, of course, then you know you can do something.
Independence Day in April 1991. Gush Emunim rallied supporters to march through the Karnei Shomron region of the West Bank, 1 hour north of Jerusalem. This is an area farmed by Palestinians surrounded by 3 Jewish settlements. Gush Emunim want to build more homes here. Approximately 25,000 people attend the march. The government fears the consequences of provocation, but fails in an attempt to ban it. The army is brought in to monitor the behavior of the settlers. A settler goes across to a group of Palestinians tending their olive tree. He returns saying, they are neighbors, and of course, as it's a holiday, we have to go and say hello to the neighbors.
For 2,000 years, when we weren't here, no nation ever claimed this land between the Mediterranean and the Jordan to be its homeland. And that's why no one ever made an effort to develop the land, to settle the land. It remained a desert and a swampland. And that's why the land of Israel between the Mediterranean and the Jordan for 2,000 years was never a national political entity by itself, claimed by any nation as its homeland. It was part of empires, except for the Jews, even while being dispersed, always prayed and hoped to come back next year in Jerusalem. This is not a homeland of any other nation except the Jews.
God told Abraham, walk through the length and the breadth of this land, for I have given this land to you. And that's exactly what we're doing. We don't want to hurt anybody, but the world must understand that this land belongs to us. This is ours.
Beit El is 30 minutes northeast of Jerusalem. This is where Jacob dreamt about the ladder from heaven. Imona Elon lives here.
אני יודעת שיש אנשים שמאשימים אותנו, את הבנייה פה בבית אל, שאולי זה מכשול לשלום, אולי זאת בנייה לא במקום הנכון, לא בזמן הנכון. אבל באוזניי, הקולות האלה של הבנייה הם הקולות הנעימים ביותר והנכונים ביותר בתקופה הזאת, מפני שהארץ כולה נבנית, הארץ כולה מקבלת את בניה ששבים אליה אחרי 2000 שנות גלות. ולפעמים אני רוצה לומר לאדמה הזאת שחיכתה לנו 2000 שנה, וסוף סוף שבנו אליה, ועכשיו יש יהודים שכביכול מוכנים לוותר עליה. אני רוצה לומר לה, אל תחששי. חזרנו אלייך, אנחנו אוהבים אותך, ואנחנו נישאר בך. לא נעזוב אותך יותר.
The fear that they might have to abandon the land haunts Gush Emunim. This is Yamit, a Jewish settlement in the Sinai Desert, won from Egypt after the Six-Day War. It was returned to the Egyptians under the Camp David Agreement in 1982. The Gush came and lived here in the last days of its existence. But the day before it was returned, the Israeli government forced out its inhabitants and bulldozed it. Yamit has become a symbol to the Gush of the unthinkable.
Yamit cannot happen again. Yamit will never happen again. Number one reason is the quality of the link. The link to here is as thick as this as far as Jewish history and Jewish religion is concerned. All the blood that goes into Jewish life comes from this heart here. So you cannot, maybe some try, but they will not succeed in doing it. They cannot cut the line that brings the vein, that brings the blood of life to everything that is Jewish. And this is here, it stems from here.
The inhabitants of Beit El have just built their first cemetery and dug their first grave.
כולנו הרגשנו שעכשיו שהיסדנו כאן בית קברות וטמנו באדמה הזאת את החברה היקרה הזאת, כאילו הקשר שלנו עם המקום התחזק עוד יותר, כאילו נוספה עוד שכבה לקשר, לאהבה שלנו למקום הזה, וכאילו נוספה ודאות שאנחנו באמת כאן על מנת להישאר. בית קברות נקרא בעברית גם בית עלמין. בית עלמין מלשון בית עולם, בית עולמים, בית לתמיד. כי האדם בחייו, כל הקיום שלו הוא זמני. הבית שלו הוא ביתו הארעי, הזמני. ורק כאן, בבית העלמין, אדם נקשר לנצח, לעולמי עולמים, עם האדמה שעליה הוא חי. שעליה הוא הילך כאשר הוא היה עדיין בחיים.
When I ask myself, why am I here, people say to me, explain for security reasons and because there is a revival of nationalism all over the world. What do you mean? I'm here because my forefathers from of 3,000 years ago came here. This is the only reason I'm here. This is a fanatic.
מחיות רעות ומכל מיני פורענויות המתרגשות ובאות לעולם, ותתננו לחנו לחסד ולרחמים בעיניך ובעיני כל רואינו, ותשלח ברכה בכל מעשה ידינו, כי אל שומע תפילות ותחנונים אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני שומע תפילה.
As the international community has come to recognize the Palestinian rights to their own homeland, the pressure on Israel to stop West Bank settlements has intensified. The Gush feel increasingly threatened. On the evening of October the 28th, 1991, they organize a massive rally in Tel Aviv. It's 2 days before the start of the Middle East Peace Conference, convened by President Bush in Madrid. Top of its agenda is stopping the settlements. The Gush demonstrate against all moves to halt their expansion and to take away their homes. They claim 50,000 attend the rally. Esther Karish is one of them.
אנחנו באים עם הילדים שלנו כי אנחנו באמת מרגישים שזה הקרב על הבית שלנו. עכשיו, אם אנחנו חושבים שזה משנה הרבה אם אנחנו נוסעים עם הילדים שלנו לתל אביב, אני לא יודעת. זאת הדרך שלנו, דרך דמוקרטית, הדרך שלנו בתור אזרח, לבוא ולהביע את הרצון שלנו ואת הדעות שלנו.
ארץ ישראל השלמה לעם ישראל. The numbers of people who support settlements in Judea, Samaria, the Gaza Strip and the Golan Heights is growing from day to day. Close to 250,000 Jews live beyond the so-called Green Line. These people, their relatives and supporters are a meaningful, irreversible reality. Not only is it irreversible, but it is growing from day to day. To Bush and Baker, we have a special message. On the dollar, we know the words, "In God we trust."
This square had to pass a message that the part in Israel that supports the idea of the greater Israel is bigger than those who are ready for concessions. I think we send a message of not giving in an inch and going on with the act of settlement. A bus that was on its way to this demonstration was ambushed and 2 people were killed, the driver and a woman, mother of 7 children. The woman is from a settlement by the name of Shiloh.
Shiloh is where the first tabernacle was set up by the Israelites under Joshua, and from here that the boy Samuel received his call from God. The settlers are building a cemetery to bury the woman killed by Palestinians en route to the demonstration in Tel Aviv. At 3:30, everyone stops to pray. The dead woman was Rachel Druck. She was 35 years old and the mother of 7 young children. She was born in Jerusalem and moved to Shiloh 8 years ago. She was known for her community work in the settlement. Kaddish, the Jewish prayer for the dead, is read by her eldest son.
ולמעצר שולחן הבשורה מהרעה ולקבה שולחן בשמיה לאתרא וימליך קדושה בריך בריך ומלכותה יקרה וירשם ומנוחה ומכהן בחוק ישראל והחיה על זה
כאשר עולים ספקות, בוודאי שעולים ספקות אצל כל אדם. אנחנו רק בני אדם, אנחנו אף פעם לא יכולים להיות בטוחים שאנחנו עושים את הדבר הנכון. אבל כל אימת שעולים בי ספקות ותהיות לגבי הדרך שבה בחרתי, אני פותחת את הספרים הקדושים שלנו, הספרים שנכתבו הרבה לפני שאני באתי לעולם. אני פותחת את התנ"ך, ואני רואה שמה שאני עושה זה בסך הכל מה שהנביאים אמרו שיקרה, מה שהבורא ציווה עלינו לעשות. וכשאני רואה את ערי ישראל הנותנים פריים, כמו שאמר הנביא יחזקאל, אני רואה את עם ישראל נקבץ ובא מארבע כנפות תבל, כמו שאמרו הנביאים, אז אני מבינה שאכן התהליך מתבצע, התוכנית האלוקית מתבצעת, ואני את שלי עושה בתוך אותה תוכנית.
Very briefly, Gush Emunim is the embodiment of the ghetto and the shtetl mentality of the Jewish people. Let's go into ourselves, let's ignore the world hates us, everybody is against us, and we will survive. That's the Masada mentality, the ghetto mentality, that's the Gush Emunim mentality. This is what people love about it. If the entire world is against us, we shall win.
Later that night, women from surrounding settlements move in to occupy the site where Rachel Druk was murdered. The police and army immediately move in. We found Esther Karish walking along the road, carrying a tent.
איתנו היו גם מספר של ילדים. החלטנו שמתיישבים במקום וקוראים למקום יד רחלים. על שם רחל שנרצחה אתמול, ועל שם רחל שנרצחה לפני 3 שנים, בדיוק באותו תאריך, באוטובוס שנשרפה באוטובוס ביריחו. תהיה פה כל הזמן משמרת של נשים מכל היישובים בבנימין ובשומרון, עד שיוקם פה יישוב של קבע ויעלו פה משפחות לחיות פה. זה דברים שאנחנו צריכים לעשות. זה לא דבר, אנחנו לאו דווקא היינו רוצים לעשות את זה, זה גם לא תוכנן להקים דווקא התנחלות פה ובזמן הזה, אבל אנחנו חושבים שכאשר קורה משהו, אנחנו לא יכולים לעבור לסדר היום על אירוע כזה. אנחנו לא יכולים לתת להכות בנו ולרצוח בנו, ושאנחנו נמשיך את החיים שלנו כאילו לא קרה שום דבר. אבל התגובה אנחנו מנסים לא להרוס, לא להביע כעס נוראי, אלא לקום ולבנות.
The following day, the peace conference opens in Madrid. Hamas, the fundamentalist Palestinian organization, calls a general strike for Arabs throughout the West Bank. In Hebron, people stay indoors, listening to the news.
I'm not willing to compromise on an inch of my land. It's mine. Would any nation in the world trade an inch of its homeland for peace when being threatened by another nation and told, either you give me part of your homeland or I won't give you peace? Let me just tell you a little story, episode. While participating in a discussion with one of my colleagues on the left, a person by the name of Elazar Granot, a close friend of mine, the head of the Mapam leftist party, before a group of Americans, and he spoke about the nobility of compromise. He said, it's so noble to compromise, it's so nice. And he said, I cannot live with my wife or children a week without compromising. Let's compromise on our land of Israel. And I had to explain and say, I also believe in the nobility of compromise. I too, of course, cannot live with my wife and children without compromising. But I'm willing to compromise with my wife, but not on my wife. I'm not willing to share my wife with anyone else. There are things in life you don't compromise on. Not on your wife, not on your children, not on your home, and not on your homeland.
They do not want to make compromise. We speak about a group of people that take words that were written thousands of years ago, were actually circumvented by the mainstream of Judaism in a hocus-pocus, abracadabra political manner. They want to revitalize these words and to say, well, they were said a couple of thousands of years ago and we are obliged to fulfill them. And this is wrong. The only thing that we are obliged for from a religious point of view is to dedicate ourselves for life. Judaism is the religion of life. It's not the religion of occupation. It's not the religion of territories. It's not the religion of death. It's the religion of good and life. And they are standing against everything which is good in life.
We are convinced that human nature prefers peace to war and belligerence. We, who have had to fight 7 wars and sacrifice many thousands of lives, glorify neither death nor war.
אני חושבת שהשנה האחרונה שעברה עלינו היא דוגמה טובה שהדברים מכוונים על ידי הקדוש ברוך הוא. הייתה מלחמת המפרץ, הייתה התמוטטות של הגוש המזרחי, וזה מאוד מוכיח לנו שהדברים לא בידיים שלנו. יחד עם זאת, זה לא פותר אותנו, זה לא אומר לנו, תשבו ואל תעשו, הקדוש ברוך הוא יעזור לכם. הבסיס שלנו אומר, אנחנו צריכים לעשות את שלנו, ואחרי שאנחנו עושים את שלנו, אנחנו יכולים לשמוע לקדוש ברוך הוא ולבקש ממנו, עכשיו תעשה את חלקך.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan comes to this conference in good faith. Our vision is not merely an end to hostility, another truce.
We've been hearing the last half a year President Bush of the United States saying that he's going to create a new world order. I cannot understand that, the haughtiness of a human being thinking that he can determine and create world orders. There is only one who creates world orders, and that is the Creator, our God. And he has been creating a new world order for the last 100 years. There's nothing that can be more revolutionary as a new world order than the return of a dispersed people to its homeland, the renewal of Jewish life here in the land of Israel. There is no parallel to that in the history of mankind. This is the new world order. And no superpower, and even the President of the United States, will be able to deter this godly process.
If my great-grandmother, who lived in the stench of the Russian Pale some 200 years ago, was given the opportunity to be in Israel just for 5 minutes, she would have given up everything she had just to breathe the air, just to see the trees, just to pluck a blade of grass and put it between her teeth. She didn't have that opportunity. But I was born into a generation, a very miraculous generation, which saw my people rise from the ashes of Auschwitz, from factories where we were turned into soap and lampshades, into a modern country, absorbing Jews from all over the world, 120 countries, putting it all together and making it work. That couldn't be done without a very intense passion for this people and for this land, without a very intense and eternal love for everything this land is, for everything it was, for everything it will be.
I do not give anybody that does not think the way I think an opportunity to say what he thinks to my children. I want my children to be exposed to the complete conviction that this land is only Jewish land. I will not let them, for the sake of superficial openness, listen to this and that. So in this sense, I'm very far from tolerant.
Yamit will never happen again. All of Jewish history and all of the blood that gives life to Jewish history and to Jewish everyday life comes from here. This is our soul. God forbid, should we leave this part, how can we continue living? Yamit will never happen again.